DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, we're not done. You get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one book, one show, one daily masterclass. All of this under one umbrella with one title. It is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is what and when to eliminate in life. Now, the thing is, in the world that we live in today, especially with these smartphone devices that I know you have one that is probably within arm's reach of you, wherever your physical person is right now, we get more and more, whether that's more information, more news, more opinions, more sources, more apps that we can add, more things that can distract us. A lot of times in life when we're looking to advance, or even when we're not looking to do anything, we're just always adding more and more things. And a lot of times in life, this happens in the business world, this happens in the sports world, this happens with our physical health, it happens with our relationships. A lot of times we mess ourselves up because we add too much rather than not having enough. So today, what I'm really presenting is a counterintuitive approach to how you can move forward, how you can move up, how you can advance and make yourself better. It's not through doing more, but it's actually through doing less, or not even necessarily doing more or less, but maybe having more or less through an elimination diet. Any of you ever heard of an elimination diet? You know the general concept of how it works, and if you haven't, I'll explain it to you really quick. It's basically you take all the things you normally eat and you eliminate one thing at a time and just see what effect it has on your body, what effect it has on your digestion, what effect it has on your sleep and how you feel, until you figure out, all right, what is the one thing that may be causing any issues that you're having. That's the elimination diet, one thing at a time. Or you can stop eating it completely and then just add one thing back into your diet at a time until you find the thing that's causing the problem, then you can eliminate that thing. But today's topic is about what you're going to eliminate. Why would it make sense to eliminate anything for any reason, given on top of this explanation that I've given, this brief introduction I've given, and when would you eliminate something? We're going to answer both of those questions through these points that we give today. And I'm going to tell you that I got a text line. Where I want you to text me, yes, through your phone, send me a text message, and tell me the best insight that you get from today's episode. Tell me something that you heard today that either reminds you of something that you used to know but you haven't thought about or used in a while, or something that you never knew and now you have been enlightened. My number is 305-384-6894. Again, 305-384-6894. Send me a text. Tell me the best thing you get from what you hear today. So let's get into the point so I can give you some things you can text me about. The topic, once again, is what and when to eliminate in life. Number one, when you need to move faster and go further in life, don't ask yourself, what can you do more of? Don't ask yourself, how can you go further by working harder and adding more time and adding more things to your list of to-dos and filling up your calendar with more stuff. Ask yourself, what can you get rid of? Now, while there may be some things you can do more of, maybe there are some ways that you can add a little bit more time, or at least find a little bit more time to do more and work harder and get more people. There are times when that is the answer, but the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what can you get rid of? Where can you free up some space? Where can you free up your resources? Often in life, our first thought is to do more, to work harder, to commit more hours, to create another product, to launch another funnel. The best solution, often though, in contrast to doing more work, having more stuff, the best solution is often already in existence. It's already inside of something that we're already doing. It's often something that we already have in our bag, so to speak. Something that is already in our environment. That is the solution to helping us move up and go faster and go farther and achieve more. The thing is, that thing just needs more of our time, focus, energy, and attention. 4 of our 5 key resources, 4 of our 5 key investments. So in order for you to give more attention, focus, energy, and time to the thing that you're already doing that could take you further, what you need to do is get rid of other things that you're already doing so that now you have more space. You got more energy to give to that thing. You got more time to focus on this thing because you're no longer doing all those other things. Any of you knows the story of Steve Jobs? If you had not read the Steve Jobs book written by Walter Isaacson, I suggest you go get it. I mentioned that book more than once here on this show, so you should have it already. But when Steve Jobs came back to Apple, he started Apple back in the 80s, got kicked out of his own company. Then he came back when Apple was close to failing. And one of the most famous things that Steve Jobs did was cut down on the product line. He took all the products that Apple was selling, he cut everything down to about 4 products. I don't remember exactly what they all were, but I know one of them was a desktop computer, one of them was more of a laptop type of computer, and there was a couple other things that they kept, and then they just focused on those products, and then eventually they advanced and started, of course they came with the phone that you have now, the iPad, the Macs, and things like that. But still, Apple's product line is still pretty narrow even to this day. They have a ton of accessories that can go with it, but the main products are the laptop, the tablet, and the phone. That's pretty much what Apple sells, those 3 things. And Apple makes the majority of its money from the phone, by the way. They know that. And if they had to eliminate everything, they would just focus on the phone, and you could find your own tablet and your own laptop, because the phone is what makes them the majority of their money. So I'm telling you all that to tell you this. The best solution, and I'm repeating something that I said here, the best solution for you to move up and go faster is often something that you already have and you are already doing. You just need to give more of your resources to that thing. But you can't do that until or unless you eliminate some of the other extra stuff that you're doing that is not one of your best solutions. The 5 forms of investment, as covered in episode 609. Time, money, attention, energy, and focus. You cannot stretch time. You get 24 hours in a day, that's it. Money, you can kind of stretch and you can go get more of it in a very short period of time. Attention, you cannot stretch. The human limitation of attention is that we can only pay attention to one thing at a time. Focus, same thing. You can only focus on one thing at a time. Energy, you can come up with ways to boost your energy, because energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's merely transferred from one heavenly body to another. But there's only so much energy you can ask of yourself if you're giving your energy to things that are just not producing the results. So ask yourself, of all the things that you are doing, which one actually will produce the highest return on investment? If you had to cut things down, we're going to get to that in a minute. Choices have to be made. This is the point that we're making here on point number 1. You cannot stretch time, money, attention, energy, and focus. You can't stretch all these things infinitely. Eventually, you get to some limitations of you being a human being, and choices have to be made. And if you want to be a powerful person in life, you want to be the CEO of your own life, let alone the CEO of a company with other people following you, you got to make tough choices. That's what the person in charge does. That's why they're the boss, is that they make the tough choices. When's the last time you made one? Point number 2. And before we even move on to point number 2, let me remind you, just doing more and more of whatever you're doing, let me just do more. Okay, we can do this, all right, let's do that too. We can do this, let's do that too. Just continually adding things ad nauseum to everything that you do. Those are not tough choices. So if you want to put yourself in a position of being an owner, of really being a leader, and really having real responsibility, ask yourself how often you're making tough choices. Because just saying yes to adding on more and more things to the suite or the menu of what you do in your life, let alone in your business, that is not a tough choice, because you're just saying yes to everything. You're basically a yes man or a yes woman. A tough choice is saying no to things and eliminating things and getting rid of things that don't belong there. And this is what people in power always do. They do this as a habit. They make tough choices. So if you're not making any tough choices, you're probably giving away your power by saying yes to too many things. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is what and when to eliminate in life. If you had to cut down what you do, I don't care if we're talking at work, if we're talking in the gym, we're talking about in your relationships, we're talking about in your business. If you had to cut down on what you do to just half of what you do, take everything you do, you're going to do half of it now. Or you're going to do 10% of it. Or you had to cut everything down and just do one thing. You got 10 things going on, you had to eliminate 9 and only do 1. One thing to do, one thing to sell or create or partake in on a consistent basis. You had to do it today. You had to make this decision today. Have 10%, just one thing. What would you get rid of first? I'm not even asking you what your choice would be. What's the first thing you would get rid of? What's the first thing you would cut away? And then, once you answer that question, and that should be giving you a hint to a tough decision that you need to make, and make it soon. What would you keep? What would you focus on? What would it be really hard for you to get rid of? maybe your answers to these questions are seeds for something that you can get started on right now, even without it being forced upon you. Because when I ask you the question, what's the first thing you would get rid of? If you had a quick, immediate answer, that should be telling you something about what you might want to get rid of. Something that just isn't serving you the way that it needs to be serving you. Or you're not serving it the way that you need to be serving it, and maybe that's telling you something. Actually, not maybe, it is telling you something. At least give it some thought, even if you don't do it. To get rid of things that are not serving you, again, is what people in power do. People in power do not allow things that are not serving them to stick around. They get rid of things. I heard someone say, I don't remember the exact quote, exactly how they said it. Maybe it was Warren Buffett, maybe it was Elon Musk, maybe Steve Jobs, maybe none of them. I don't remember exactly who said it. But the person was saying, and I'm paraphrasing, that in order for them to move up and level up their game, what they started doing was just saying no more often. And again, I'm just paraphrasing what they said. Don't even know who said it. But the more times they said no, what are they doing? They're eliminating things. They're eliminating possibilities. They're not adding anything to their calendar. They're actually creating more empty space for them to do what they want to do and focus on the essential things. Because again, you cannot stretch your time, money, attention, energy, focus infinitely. Eventually, you got to focus down, niche down, and focus down on the things that are actually serving. Do you know what those things are, and are you willing to get rid of everything else? These are rhetorical questions from me to you. They are not rhetorical questions from you to you. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is what and when to eliminate in life. In my book, Work on Your Game, I gave you the analogy that your habits are your employees. That every habit that you have in life is basically like an employee who is working for you. And those employees working for you are representing your company, because what they're doing every single day is creating the image that the world has of you, i.e. the way you present yourself to the world. Thusly, since your habits are your employees, every single day at the company of you needs to be employee review day. It means you need to be looking at each one of your employees, i.e. your habits, and asking yourself, okay, how is this employee performing? How is this habit performing for me? Is it making me better? Is it making my company look good? Is it making my company money? Is it moving my company forward? Or is it doing the exact opposite? Is it costing me money? Is it bringing much more of a headache than it is actually bringing a benefit? Would it be worth it to keep this employee around? If I fired this employee, will my company suffer in any way, shape, or form? Is firing this employee the thing that I actually need to do, but I've just been putting off doing it because it's a habit and I'm so used to it that I'm just allowing it to stick around? These are questions that you should be asking yourself about your habits every single day. And I'm giving you this point to draw a metaphor between the habit employee thing that I explained in my book, Work on Your Game, and the habits of what you're doing in your day-to-day life. Maybe it's the exact same thing. Maybe it's not, doesn't even have to be a parallel. Maybe it's exactly what I'm talking about for you. Maybe it's something that you're doing in your business. Maybe it's a product that you need to stop selling. Maybe it's an employee that you need to stop paying and get off your payroll and get them out of the company. And change the passwords and take their, get call security to escort them out of the building. Any habit of yours, or any habit of your business, or any element of your business, of your work, of your life, that is not serving your needs to be either reformed or removed. Now, you can have a habit that is actually good, but you're just not doing it in the right way. Those are the habits that can be reformed. So this would be like if you go to the gym 5 days a week, which would ostensibly be a good thing, but when you get to the gym, you're sitting on the bench reading social media feeds on your phone. You're in the gym, but you're not actually doing anything. You can reform that habit. It's good to go to the gym. You just got to change up what you do once you get there. Now, there are other habits, like if you sit down at your couch and watch Netflix and eat a full bag of potato chips every day, that's a habit that you probably can delete, because you don't need to be sitting down at the couch watching Netflix, eating chips. None of those things is useful. So you can get rid of all of that habit and replace it with something else, like maybe going and taking a walk for 30 minutes. You get the point that I'm making here. Some habits you can reform, some habits need to be deleted. It's just like with a building. When a building gets closed down, some old motel or hotel or office building, sometimes they got to tear the whole building down and they got to build something new from scratch, from ground zero. Other times they just gut the building because the frame is still in good shape, and then they just rebuild around the frame. But you got to decide which one is it going to be. But you can't decide until you actually take a look at your habits, and you can't take a look at your habits until you get conscious about them, because habits are unconscious by definition. It's the very point of it being a habit is that you do it without thinking about it. So you got to get conscious about what you have going on. To eliminate something, you got to get conscious that it is even there. You got to notice that it's there. Then you got to ask yourself some critical questions about it. Then you make a decision. And I want you to understand why I'm talking about habits and spending so much time on this very topic, because your habits, being that they're your employees, extending this analogy here that, again, I covered this in my book, Work on Your Game. The reason why habits matter so much is because being that they're your employees, you don't pay them a salary. You don't actually pay them with money, but you do pay them. You know how you pay your habits? You pay your habits through the life you live. Your life is the payment that you give to your habits. So your habits are satisfied every 2 weeks on payday, because the life that you're living is the check. That's the direct deposit that your habits get for you. So if you don't like the way your life looks in certain aspects, what you need to look at is not the results of the aspects. Those are the symptoms of the situation. What you need to look at is the source. You need to look to the source of the situation and ask yourself, what habits do I have that have led to this aspect of my life looking the way that it looks? And then, now that you're conscious of the habits, when you get answers, as long as you're willing to be honest with yourself, then you can do something about it. Now, understand that you can be and you need to be selfish when it comes to elimination in life. When it comes to elimination of a habit as the boss, you need to be selfish when it comes to getting rid of them. All right, don't worry about their feelings or how they're going to find another job. Let them go. You need to be selfish here, because anything that is not serving you, I am giving you the, quote, common sense advice to eliminate those things. Because I see so many cases of people who allow unproductive habits, unproductive people, unproductive energies to hang around in their lives, to hang around in their businesses, and they don't do anything about it, even though they can see that this unproductive thing is in the space. Now, I almost didn't even add this into what I was going to say today, because I was thinking, you know what, maybe this is too simple of a point. Maybe I don't need to say this. Maybe it's so, quote, common sense, close quote, that nobody even needs to hear it. I don't even need to say that. Somebody said, oh, come on, Dre, we already know that. You don't have to say that common sense thing. Give me something that's a little bit deeper. But there it is. It made it onto the show anyway. Sometimes the simplest idea, the simplest concept is the one that we most need, because us humans with our big brains and us all thinking we're so damn smart, we start to think that we don't need the basics. We start to think that the simple ideas are the ones that we believe that we already know the common ideas. So then when someone comes to us with a common idea, we're not even willing to listen to it. We're like, oh, well, I already heard that. I already know that. Well, knowing something and actually executing on it are two different things. And a lot of times people say they know things, but they're not executing on it, so you don't really know it. You think it when you're aware of it, but you're not actually doing it. You don't know something until you're doing it. You don't truly know something until you're teaching it. Sometimes in life, you just need to hear something so you can either remind yourself of it or so you can think about it. But now that it's been said, now I don't have that burden on me anymore. Now I'm putting it on you. Now you can do something with it because I've handed it to you. Let's recap today's class, which is what and when to eliminate in life. Number one, eliminate when you need to move faster and go further. Think about what you can get rid of. Instead of what you can do more of, think about what you can eliminate. The first thought many times when we want to go further in life is to work harder, give more time, create another product, launch another funnel. But the best solution is often something that we're already doing. It just needs more of our attention. Thus, we need to eliminate some things that are taking that attention away from the thing that we really should be focusing on. Remember that we have 5 forms of investment: time, money, attention, energy, focus. You can't stretch all of them infinitely. You got to make some tough choices. And if you're not making tough choices, you are not taking power and you are not taking serious responsibility. Number 2, if you had to cut down what you do to half of what you do, 10%, or just one thing of everything that you do, what would get cut first? What would you eliminate first? If you got a quick answer to that question, that's something you should probably get rid of now, even if you're not being forced to do it. That's a hint in your mind. Number 3, in my book, Work on Your Game, I told you that your habits are your employees. Every single day should be employee review day. Any employee that is not serving you needs to be fired immediately. Do not give them a second chance. Do not let them pass go. Do not let them collect $200. Get rid of them. You need to be selfish when it comes to elimination in your life, because you only get one of these. When that time is gone, you cannot get that time back. Time is the most important investment and resource that you have. So anything that is not serving you, I'm giving you the common sense advice to eliminate those things. Because I see so many cases of people allowing things to stick around in their lives that they know are not productive, but they don't do anything about it. And I almost didn't even put this point in because I thought maybe it's too simple, but then I thought about the fact that so many people seem to not be following it, and I say, you know what, I need to say it. So now I've said it, and I want you to text me. Tell me the most valuable insight you got from today's masterclass. What are you going to do different based on what you heard today? My number is 305-384-6894. Again, 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre all day.